Hello, I'm Nick Henley, founder of Stamped Out Scams. Today we're sharing a powerful story that's not just a testament to personal resilience, but also a stark warning about the dangers lurking in the digital world of online romance. It's a story that many unfortunately find themselves living through, a narrative that's all too common, yet deeply personal and unique in its details. Our brave storyteller in this video reached out to share her journey. She told us she wanted to share her story in hopes it will help others. As she told us, it brings her great shame to have to disclose what happened to her. However, something good can come from her unfortunate circumstance. Then she wants to do it and help. As with most romance scams, hers began with a quest for companionship and led to a harrowing experience of deceit, manipulation, and financial loss. Her story is a vivid illustration of the sophisticated tactics used by scammers to prey on the emotional vulnerabilities of their victims. But it's more than just a cautionary tale. It's a call to action and a reminder of the strength it takes to come forward. The feelings of embarrassment and anxiety are real and valid, but so is the courage it takes to speak out. This isn't just about the money loss, it's about regaining power from those who seek to take it. To our viewers, whether you're seeking understanding, healing, or ways to protect yourself and your loved ones, know this: you are not alone. Through sharing and education, we can fortify ourselves against the manipulation of those who operate in the shadows. Let's listen, let's learn, and lend our support to each other. So I invite you to join us as we hear her story. Let's take this journey together, learning the signs to watch out for and the steps to guard our hearts and our wallets against such insidious scams. I also invite you to send along your personal romance story, if you have one, to us at info@stampoutscams.org. We believe that bringing these stories to life will help demonstrate just how much these victims have suffered. You can send along this information anonymously to us via email. We will create a video with your information and background from your romance scam experience. Actual names aren't important for these videos. It's the scam tactics and the psychology used by the scammer that is vital information that we all need for learning purposes, and most importantly, for scam prevention. Speaking of learning purposes, throughout this victim story you will periodically see red flags with the text "warning." These warnings appear whenever there is a point in our victim's story where red flag warnings should have been heeded. Now, while it's too late for this victim to heed these warnings, it's still time for others to hear the warning bells from a real victim and see just what these warnings are. Romance scammers are creatures of habit and often use the same strategy in their romance scamming stories. So watch out for these warnings and pay attention to them. If you or a loved one are in the middle of what you think may be the love of your life, play our red flag warning game and see how many red flags are playing out in your own romance storyline or that of a friend. Thank you very much for being here, for listening, and for your commitment to standing united against scams. Together we can make a difference. Let's get started and take a look at this video. Thank you very much.
It's super embarrassing to be telling this story. I have a lot of anxiety about what I endured, and am still enduring because of this scam. I thought I was smart enough not to fall for this stuff. Well, it turns out I wasn't. What I experienced was a long con. I know this now, but it's a little too late. So, it all began for me in January of last year through Instagram. I was feeling ignored, unappreciated, and unloved in my marriage, which I understand is a common feeling. Let's just say I was in a state of mind where I was ripe for the scam pickings, So, like many people do, I went online and quickly met someone. Not a surprise nowadays in the online dating world. Stupidly, I actually thought this person I met online really cared about me. Boy, now I see how naive I was. He told me he was stationed in El Paso with the Army and Special Forces and he had the Instagram pictures to prove it. Shortly after we met online, he suddenly got deployed overseas. Looking back now, this is where and when the con started. I was skeptical of the stories he told me at first. Why was I skeptical, you may ask? Well, first of all, what person asks you for money for their sick child? What person asks you to pay their older child's rent? Or what person needs you to purchase safety equipment for a mission they're on? Well, up to this point in my life, no one had ever asked me for anything like this. This guy laid it on thick. "Don't you care about my safety?" he would ask. I now see clearly what a simple psychological trick he was using on me. He was just telling me stories he knew would garner sympathy. Well, these stories seemed to have worked, because embarrassingly, over the next 6 months, I gave him well over $8,000 through PayPal. The money was always sent to different email addresses, always through friends and family. Because of this, I had to pay PayPal fees, just adding more insults to my miseries. I started to wise up when I ran out of money to give him, and he would berate me, saying that he knew I had the money to send but was just choosing not to. He would go on about how much he loved me, and I was treating him like crap. I tried breaking it off more than once. He just kept sucking me back in with sob stories. Eventually, I wised up and stopped sending him money altogether. I did ask him to be paid back on several occasions. I told him that I wanted a bank-certified check drawn off of his bank. Again, I thought this dude was real. Boy, hindsight is really 20/20. We did speak on the phone several times. During these conversations, I noticed that he had a thick African-sounding accent. This should have been a huge red flag for me, but I ignored it. We did eventually video chat twice. The first time we video chatted, the video quality was horrible. The second time, I could tell it was a still picture being manipulated by computer to appear like the person was talking. Eventually, he told me he was sending me a check to pay me back. I actually thought to myself, hell yes, it's about time. He asked me for my bank information and my physical address. Trust me, I didn't want to provide him either. However, as I still thought he was kind of legitimate, and I really wanted my money back, I gave him a physical address. Believe it or not, he sent me a check. The envelope the check came in was postmarked from one state, and the check was drawn off a company in another state. Immediately, alarm bells rang. I called my bank and told them briefly what was going on. They said, under no circumstances should I deposit the check and that it was a scam. So I didn't deposit it. I filed a report with FBI's Internet Crimes Complaint Center, the IC3. I provided as much information against this person as I could. I also stored the information and my check in my safe at home. Eventually, this guy began threatening me. He swore that he would be releasing private photos and videos of me to my family, friends, and workplace if I didn't give him his money. He swore up and down that I cashed the check and was holding on to all his money. I engaged with him a few more times. Then I blocked him on Instagram, Google Mail, and Google Chat. Google Mail blocks are somewhat stupid because it just sends the blocked emails to spam. So my curiosity would get the best of me, and I would go to spam and still read them. Also, because I wanted to keep ahead of any physical threats of harm, I continued to read them. I realized, however, that he was messing with me by playing mind games. So, I eventually set a rule to where his emails got deleted instead. My fear is real, but it isn't enough to get me to continue to do his bidding and send more money. After his threats and constant harassment, I filed a report with the FBI. I assume that his threats are empty. I know he's just trying to get money from me, but you just never know. The fear and anxiety are there still. I've warned my friends and family about him, provided them his Instagram handle, and told them to block and report him. I've reported his account to Instagram for harassment. Anyways, I just wanted to speak out and warn others about this romance scammer and his intimidations. Just remember, no matter how lonely you are or how unloved you feel, don't fall for this con game like I did. Thank you for listening.
Unfortunately, romance scams like this victim experience are happening every day. From hearing this victim's story, you can see the numerous red flag warnings that were thrown out by the scammer during his interaction with this victim. If this happens to you or someone you know, it is also highly recommended that you report it to local police immediately. As the victim said herself, you just never know. Please pass along this link to this video to anyone you know who may be going through a similar experience. Point out the red flags, and because a friend or family member may immediately recognize these scam red flags in their current interactions. Scammers like this like to reuse these red flags and storylines just because they work. The purpose of bringing these out from the victims is not victim blaming. It is to tell their story because they want others to learn, and we want others to learn. So thank you very much for watching, and take care.